Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And today we are going off to the Asian steppe, where we are visiting a Bronze Age site in Kazakhstan, where a girl was buried with more than 150 animal ankle bones.
Yep. Very important to specify the word animal there. Otherwise, we have something incredibly horrific on our hands.
I still think this is borderline horrific. Why were they collecting ankles?
I don't know. Use knuckle bones as dice. Who knows what the ankle bones are for? But
Oh, jeez.
anyway, it's a in the eastern Kazakhstan necropolis of Anabulak Temerisu. They archaeologists have uncovered a Bronze Age burial mound of a girl with an incredible amount of grave goods. Just stopping to look at the first photo, you can see very clearly there is the absolute horde of ankle bones, as well as a number of small bronze objects. We got a little bull off to the left, and you can see very clearly the skeleton sort of laying there, almost like they should be holding this, if I'm judging the angle right.
Yeah, well, you can see from the torso, you can see at least the right arm looks like it's down by the knee, but the left arm looks like it's coming up to the bone pile.
Yeah, yeah, almost. I almost get like a sense like someone carrying something in two hands.
Yeah.
Uh, is the kind of vibe I get from this, but
It's interesting. And then they also found a frog disc, which was a metallic disc that has the image of a frog inscribed on it.
yeah, oh, that's a very fun little bronze disc. Yeah,
And they tie it with the frog motif with water related rituals found in China and Egypt, which also poses a unique question too, because obviously this has some association with a woman in labor and the cult of water, but that's not arguably the most interesting part about this whole site, this whole excavation, is it?
no, no, it is not. So these excavations, which have been underway since 2016, uh, have well, I believe the most interesting part here is just the absolutely massive amount of ankle bones, like the title said, which have
Yeah.
been uncovered with this single burial. As far as we can tell, archaeologists, as of yet, have not given any comment as to what they could mean, this horde of ankle bones, nor is it a part of any extant ritual for the area that I'm aware of. That said, I am not an expert in the Central Asian Bronze Age.
No, but this is where I think we'll put on our critics hat and start diving into this a little bit more. And actually, surprisingly, I will say that I think is actually a point of value in this article. The fact that these writers and these archaeologists did not ascribe ritual or religious significance to this, because it is kind of a running joke or running gag in our field that if you don't know what the meaning or purpose of something is, it's clearly ritualistic, which
Yeah,
unfortunately given human nature is honestly a valid answer, but they don't say that here. They don't purposefully ascribe that here, and that I think is a willingful choice, especially given that this site has been excavated since 2016. So in hindsight, that's what, 7 years now. But in the
yeah,
grand scheme of
7 years.
archaeological work and excavations and research, that is still young. I mean, this
Yeah.
is probably, I if I had to make a guesstimation, I would say that this was probably excavated within the first year or two. It's just finally now getting to a point where the data and the information is starting to get synthesized and published.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this was definitely excavated 20 in the 2018-2019 season at the latest, given how we are hearing about it, how we have such good photos, especially with the frog disc having already been identified as silver and having been uh, gone through the lab, as is clearly seen in its close-up photo.
Which you can
It,
see
it's
some of the
it's clearly
outline
gone
of
through lab work.
you could see some of the frog outline, but in reality, the scientists probably did some way of lifting that specific image to identify the animal, or some sketching.
Yeah, it's clearly gone. It's clearly spent a few months in the lab with someone going over it. And the other thing to go back to your earlier point with the ascribing ritual purposes, which thankfully has not been done here. Well, that is often a thing that is true for human nature. I recommend anyone who's wondering why that might be a bad thing to look at the gag article about the Nasarima. Simply because in that it ascribes the concept of brushing one's teeth as a holy ritual.
Even better, I personally am biased towards Motel of Mysteries, which is like a book geared towards kids where you're an archaeologist from the year like 8000 going back and looking at a motel. And some of the things we think of every day as objects, they look at it from a perspective that is foreign to us, and it's very fascinating. But
the amount of things that get misdescribed.
everything.
Very easy.
The article. So this is where my other critique stems, and this comes from this specific article, which is from a not the most reputable source of Archeo News, which is a aggregate website that compiles different news from the archaeology world, in which the article isn't very in-depth. It gives some good information, some good data. However, the issues that I have is like the last 3 paragraphs of this article. Because, firstly, it took to the third to last paragraph for them to even mention the animal bones, despite it being the title, the headline title. And second, I know that's for retention and everything, but then this whole second to last paragraph was talking about how some scientists think that the burial was a part of a cult practice and that the bones were used during meditation. However, other researchers view the bones as symbols of well-being and good luck.
Yeah. The complete lack of names involved in this tells me that 2 things are happening. Number 1, no one involved in this project is commenting.
No.
And number 2, this is the equivalent of citing your sources by saying, I heard someone say it once, everyone is saying it.
Yeah, I would almost liken the equivalent to saying, I hear people talking all the time. People say, Justin, people love archaeology. But then I hear some people say that they're not quite big fans of archaeology. Both statements could be vaguely true. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But who's saying this? Where's your citations? Where's your sources? It's just...
A person thinks X. It could be any person. All you need is one human being on Earth to have thought it, and suddenly it's a valid statement.
However, the one nugget of truth that they do to give this whole paragraph some credibility is the other researchers view the symbols of well-being and good luck, and that served as a wish for a successful transition from one world to the other, Zumatayev said. So the lead archaeologist at least said some aspect of the second sentence, but they did not say anything in the first sentence. Otherwise, it would have been more properly quoted. I just don't.
Yeah.
Poor writing is not an excuse to hide good information.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of it's very clearly a cherry-picked quote. I doubt he said what he said in this context. Often, what is more likely happening is we are seeing quotes about, well, what do ankle bones typically symbolize in ancient cultures? Good luck, wishes, things like that.
Yeah, it's
as opposed to him saying these ankle bones are symbols of that, because that's the key distinction when you're asking about what does an object mean versus what does this specific instance mean.
And like the mystery of getting to the center of a Tootsie Pop, the world may never know.
Yeah, but we're archaeologists, so we're here to be Mr. Owl trying to help.
Oh, you missed the perfect pun. We're archaeologists. We're here to dig up the truth. And on that terrible pun, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.